Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. All right. So, this is the month one training, and I'm very, very excited about this because, as you guys all know, this is a veteran group, and I got involved with veterans a couple months ago. My name is Johnny, and I'm the founder of True Fit Academy, and we put together this online community to help transitioning veterans just rediscover their purpose and build a lifestyle around their health and around their mindset that is going to support themselves and support their futures. And so we put together this online community, and month one is going to be all about resetting and rebuilding that foundation that we can build the rest of the program on. So we're keeping things very, very simple and very easy to keep up with. But I found I just thought that it would be a really good idea to start off with the first month about just gut health. Okay. So today I'm very excited. I have Jill with us here, and she is a
Mhm.
holistic health coach. And well, Jill, I'm not going to speak for you. So why don't you tell me a little bit about who you are and how you help people?
Yeah, sure. So much, Johnny, for having me here.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful well, gosh, we've known each other for
Over
year
a
and a
year
half. I
now.
know. Awesome.
Yeah.
So very honored to be here to talk to this very special group of people. And when you contacted me, I'm like, yes, 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 even before you asked me
Yeah.
what I wanted to talk about. So thank you. Just a quick background. Well, actually, I wanted to first thank the veterans for their service. I know that it's an
Yeah.
honor and we spend a day being grateful for them, but we are truly grateful every single day. So thank you, thank you,
Yes.
thank you. A little bit about me, and I know knows this about me, but I have been in mental health for over 20 years and been an educator. And um, I have, over the last year and a half, 2 years or so, have combined that mental health background, understanding that stress and chronic inflammation can really affect our bodies and our overall well-being. So I am also too a health coach. So integrating health coach, healthy eating, really big about nervous system regulation, which we'll talk a little bit more about. I'm also too a certified yoga teacher. So all of those are kind of knitted together in order to have a holistic way of supporting my clients. So very glad to be here.
Very nice. I love
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And could you just quickly for the audience tell us like what's like the thing that you feel like you specialize in the most? Like what are the things that most of your clients struggle with?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just again, you and I have gone back and forth with regards to supporting different kinds of groups. And I'm super passionate about mindset.
Yeah.
And just again, based on that background of mental health, I really believe that it's not only what we eat and how we move our bodies, but it's how we think about things and our mindset about things. And then also, too, realizing that our nervous system, working with people in chronic situation really affects our health and bringing that to attention to other people that in order to be be healthy and to sustain that health, we also too need to integrate mindset and nervous regulation. So I really like to specialize in those and talk about those kind of things.
Love it. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Mhm.
Great.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so the reason why I feel like starting off with this topic is really important is because, especially for anyone, it's January for anyone who's watching
Yeah.
this video now or watching the
Hmm.
recording. And I feel like a lot of people want to get into like back into a healthy routine in the new year. And so, and a lot of people fall off track after the first, 4 to 6 weeks. And I think
Hmm.
a lot of them go out too hard too fast and they get burnt out. And
Hmm.
so the point of this presentation, guys, is because I want to bring some quick wins into your healthy routine, some things that you know is going to work immediately, but also give you some clarity around how we can sustain this health long term. Okay, because if your goal is to lose weight or feel more energized or feel healthier, although yes, the end goal is the end goal, but the journey is what's going to get you there. And I think having really more clarity on how we're going to get there is going to make things a little bit less stressful and
Hmm.
just have some more concrete confidence that you know you're doing the right thing. Okay, so this first month is going to be basically what the rest of the plan is built on. Okay, so So without any further ado, we're going to hop into our first topic here, okay?
Okay.
Which is going to be all about foundational sleep, hydration, movement, and meal timing, okay? I
Yeah.
know, Jill, specifically you want to talk about some inflammation and
Hmm.
kind of how to reset your system. So
Yeah.
why don't you dive in with what you got here?
Okay, great. Well, just like when we're building a house and we're out there, we watch people building our houses or going through a project, we're always building off on a foundation. And so these are really the basics. And I'm sure the people that are work with you, I'm going to basically be affirming your solid guidance, Johnny, with these just gentle reminders. And to piggyback on what you said, it's not if we're even incorporating a few of these basics, it leads to better health. So don't want to be overwhelming. And I know that means something to you. You just talked about that we feel like we take all of this on and it can make us feel like we need to stop. So let's get started. Foundational habits, talking about sleep, first of all. Nothing really resets or we don't get better without good sleep. Um, if we're in the mindset of that we will sleep when we get, when we die or whatever, that is not something that I necessarily agree on. There's so much research on the fact of the value of sleep. And so sleep repairs our tissues, clears our brain waste, it regulates our hormones, and it also too reduces inflammation. So how do we do that? Just some simple guidance here. 90 minutes before bed, just maybe go ahead and start winding down. What does that routine look like? Dimming the lights in the house, maybe dimming the lights in your bedroom, minimizing screen time. I mean, I say no screen time, maybe an hour, hour and a half, and actually go to bed almost go to bed consistently and wake up consistently at the same time. Those are ways that we can reduce inflammation just through our sleep. Now,
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people have struggle breaking that cycle
yeah.
about going to bed late and then waking up late or going to bed too early, waking up early, whatever. And I feel like trying to get into that repeatable system of going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, although the first few days might be a little challenging, your body
Hmm.
will adapt and eventually it's going to reset and you'll start feeling a big difference after a couple of days.
Oh, absolutely. Don't get discouraged that it's going to be a little bit difficult to do. And, with the holidays, just talking to people, we're probably have stayed up too late and slept in. So just be kind to yourself, a lot of grace with regard in wellness. So, agreed. And then I know, Johnny, this is big for you. Hydration is so incredibly important.
Yeah.
This decreases inflammation as well. If we are dehydrated, it increases our inflammation, it slows our digestion, and we just don't feel good. And so probably a lot of the times, and I would imagine that you agree with this, is that when we begin to feel thirsty, we're already dehydrated,
Yeah.
right? So how do we help reduce inflammation through hydration? Is when we get up, we want to uh, start drinking water within a short period of time upon waking. Johnny, you've said this a couple of times, so you might want to, and hopefully I got this right, that we drink half of our body weight in ounces. Did I say that correctly? Like if somebody weighs 180, or wanted to drink like 90 ounces of water. So
Roughly,
clarify that.
yeah. I
Okay.
think a really good, easy rule to follow is 2 liters for women and two and a half
Okay.
liters for men.
Okay. I remember you saying that.
Even
Okay.
though that's not our metric, but I feel like I can look at a soda 2 liter bottle and be like, oh, okay, this is about 2/3 of a gallon, roughly. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And then electrolytes are really important. I think just adding a little pinch of sea salt for electrolytes helps with hydration.
Mm,
So we can actually reduce inflammation through sleep and with drinking enough water. Movement, 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day. What does it look
yeah.
like on getting up in the morning and going for that walk? I know, Johnny, you take your dog out for the walk in the morning on usually. I try to do that. Not perfect, but if we can get into a routine of doing that. Walking maybe before meals and or after meals. And then, I do, it depends on the day, but some days I might be working with clients and I make sure that I get up every hour. So we can reduce inflammation through our movement throughout the days. And then lastly, meal timing. Our bodies really like consistency. It likes stability. And so establishing the sleep routine, the hydration, the movement, and now even the meal timing is important. And why? It's because our bodies want to feel safe. And when
Yeah.
our bodies feel safe, they can heal and it reduces inflammation. So my suggestion is that to eat within 1 or 2 hours of waking. Um, We've talked a little bit about the value of fasting. Now, fasting is literally when you stop eating at night. So we have dinner and we don't have any snacks afterwards,
Right.
and we sleep, and we might give it another hour or two before we eat. The reason for that is because it helps with our digestion, and our digestion has an opportunity to kind of slow down and put energy in other parts of our body to help repair.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And so definitely stop eating after dinner. What do you agree with that, Johnny?
Yeah, I
Still?
do.
Okay.
I'm a big dessert guy, I'm just gonna be
Oh
honest.
yeah, yeah,
And
I remember
so
that.
after dinner, I'm always like, I kind of want like something really small, but usually, I mean, I've shared some really high protein desserts in this group already for
Okay.
y'all who are watching. But yeah, if we can limit the amount of sugar that we're having, especially after dinner before we go to bed,
Mm-hmm.
that's gonna be key. And a lot of the times, making your own high protein dessert is going to be really helpful. But yeah, we don't want to be eating roughly an hour before we go to bed, right? If you're
Yeah.
stuffing your face and then immediately going to bed, it's not going to be digesting fully, and you're going to wake up
Yeah.
feeling kind of bloated. But if we give our
Yeah.
body at least an hour to 2 hours to digest before we go to bed, that's going to be really helpful.
Absolutely, agreed. And so we've talked about sleep, hydration, movement, and meal timing.
Yeah.
And so I just want to kind of pause here. And for those that are listening to this, I would just suggest maybe picking one or two to start. If
Yeah.
this already feels overwhelming, just pick one or two. How can you increase your sleep quality? I would recommend that.
Yeah.
And daily movement. I mean, it just kind of depends on the individual, but just pausing here and just kind of thinking to yourself or those who are listening about where can I start increasing
Yeah.
habits so I can reduce inflammation and I can move my body and my mind into a better well-being for my life.
Love that.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I
So
love how
then,
you said pick one or two healthy
yes.
habits that will actually work with your life and with your schedule. Because I think starting off with this with a really small step and something you're actually able to commit to for 30 days,
Hmm.
that's going to make a big difference. And before you know it, it's going to become a habit. And then you know how some people like if they don't have their morning coffee, then their whole day is ruined?
Yes,
for
yes.
for me, if I don't go out for my morning walk, I feel restless in the morning, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's just part of my daily life now. And so I think
Yeah.
starting up with one or two things like drinking more water or sleeping more, whatever. Just those two things for the next 30 days, I think is going to help reduce stress and make you feel a little bit healthier as well. And then we can that's that foundation, right? Then we can kind of
Absolutely.
add things onto it as you
Yeah.
get better at it. Yeah.
Yeah, like kind of the
Cool.
analogy that I mentioned about building the house. We want our foundation to be solid, right?
Right.
Yeah, and so these are really great ways to build solid foundations and to
Love
be
it.
kind to self. So as long as we're moving towards changing our habits in a healthier way, thumbs up. Great,
Love
great
it.
job, guys.
Cool.
Okay, let's get a little bit more into inflammation and really how it affects our stress, how it affects our movement, and how we can reset it. Um,
I'm
inflammation.
sorry. Are we on this one now, or do you want to
Oh,
go
no,
back?
no, let's just stay on the inflammation and how it affects stress and movement. The second, yeah,
Cool.
there we
Cool.
go. There we go.
Yep.
Okay, so, inflammation, we get a cut, we have an infection, we have injuries. And so short-term inflammation is good. It helps us heal. I'm talking about long-term
Mm,
chronic stress. And so when we have long-term chronic stress, our inflammation is also long-term, and this leads to dis-ease. I call it dis-ease in the body because you're going to feel a lot of different things that could be happening that could lead to something very serious. And so if you're having like joint pain, muscle aches, we might have a little bit of brain fog, some poor memory, digestive issues. Um, these are indicators. And again, thinking about how long you've been under stress,
Mm,
this is going to lead to possible dis-ease in the body. And so when inflammation is elevated, we want to think, okay, what do we need to do? We could do these things that we just talked about.
yeah.
Inflammation leads, how does inflammation occur in our body? We probably might have poor gut health, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Yeah.
Obviously, chronic stress leads to inflammation. It can be a problem with inflammation. Eating processed foods, a lot of sugar, a lot of trans fat, right? The lack of sleep. We just got
The
done talking
chips.
about that.
The chips is what get people.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Lack of sleep. Again, this is so important and undervalued about how important sleep is and to rest your body. We live in a society that is just so busy, busy, busy. So we need to rest and restore. The overuse of over-the-counter medications, ibuprofen, Aleve, Tylenol, those kinds of things, if we overuse them, it affects our gut lining and the permeability of it.
Mhm.
If
Yeah.
you are using this for long term, my suggestion, again, I'm not a doctor, is maybe just inquire what could you do differently. And then, obviously excess body fat.
Yeah.
So when you think about the cycle, if we have stress in our bodies, stress in our lives, okay, not stress in our minds, long term, then increases our inflammation, which then is additional stress. Okay, so
Right.
it's just this vicious cycle. And, chronic stress increases our cortisol, and then cortisol triggers our inflammation.
Yeah.
So,
And when
how,
cortisol is higher,
yeah,
it's also harder for your body to respond if you're in the journey of trying to lose body fat as well.
oh gosh,
So
yeah,
just being less stressed will help your body to regulate and function properly, as in your metabolism will be healthier and things like that too.
yes. I
Just
lo
focusing on stress, which is actually kind of crazy.
Yeah, and I like to, and I know you talk to a lot of your clients about this, and we talk about like, what is our morning routine about look like? We're wanting to walk, we're wanting to have water. Our cortisol begins rising, and but if we counteract with easing into our day with a walk, a gentle meal, water, those kinds of things help make sure that our cortisol levels are not
Yeah.
spiking and
Yeah.
setting up for success for the rest of the day. Inflammation hurts. I just got done talking about joint pain, muscle aches, those kinds of things. But movement, and it may feel a little bit counterintuitive, actually helps reduce inflammation. So just because you are feeling this way, joint pain, again, maybe I'm just talking about kind of an overall all
Yeah.
healthy, so to speak, person. If you have been diagnosed with something severe or whatever, um, definitely consult with your doctor. But if you can look back and you think, I've been overly stressed, I've been eating hamburgers, Five Guys is my favorite place to go almost on a
Mhm.
regular basis. There's probably some inflammation. And so I would
Yeah.
encourage movement. And I'm sure you do encourage your folks to do the same.
Cool.
It improves insulin sensitivity and just also too reduces our cortisol.
Yeah.
Foods, what we eat helps reduce inflammation. Fatty fish are the nuts, the leafy greens, the nuts and the seeds, omega-3s. Turmeric and ginger can absolutely
Yeah.
help, and then green tea. So just being thoughtful on incorporating or increasing anti-inflammatory foods. Again, it doesn't have to be an overhaul, right? We just want to decrease those kinds of things and increase the anti-inflammatory
Yeah. And I think
foods.
a big part of this is also just being more mindful of what you're doing. Because I feel like a lot of people
Absolutely.
are like on autopilot, especially if you have a full-time job, if you have kids, if you got sports and pickup and all this kind of stuff. You got to go shopping and do laundry. There's so much stuff. and
Yeah.
it can feel overwhelming. And so I think just being intentional about how you're or what you're doing, which how I feel like if you're just intentional about what you're putting in your body and how you move
Hmm.
your body and making sure you're actually scheduling this in your day to day is just going to make
Hmm.
everything else seem a little bit less stressful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And when we're starting to incorporate those anti-inflammatory foods, those healthier foods, we are going to feel better and we're going to be able to move better, and our inflammation and overall is just we're
Love
going
it.
to feel better. Um, okay, stress management with regards to inflammation. I
Is
want to
this
talk.
the next? Is this the next
No,
one, or is
no,
this?
no, we're almost there. We're
Okay, okay,
almost
no, you're
there.
good. You're good. Keep on. You're fine.
Okay, okay. And at the end introduction, I talked a lot about this, about nervous system regulation. And
Yeah.
I'm going to give a freebie as far as some nervous system stress ways that you can reduce stress in your body.
Mm.
We have a nerve that's called the vagus nerve that runs from our brainstem all the way to the gut. Okay. And our gut actually speaks, it runs up and tells us kind of what's going on. So if our gut is inflamed, if we're not feeling good, if we're not eating well, this is all going to be communicated to the rest of our body,
Mm.
hence joint pains, muscle aches, those kinds of things. And so the vagus nerve is actually a part of the parasympathetic nervous system, which means rest and digest. Okay. And a lot of people, especially in today's society, we're always going, 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 or we may be in fight or flight mode always because we idolize going, 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 doing, 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 more, 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 right?
Right.
And so we also too need to be thoughtful on that. We need to also to balance that out, and accessing the vagus nerve and activating that can help turn the digestion on. It helps breathing. It helps our heart rate slow down.
Mm.
It helps our body shift from that go, go, go to more of that rest and digest. If we are stuck in fight or flight mode all the time, that means we're stressed,
Yeah.
which then increases our inflammation. So it's harder to get well. It literally is harder to lose weight.
Yeah.
And so your this is again, it's a way for us, it's to help reduce our stress, is to activate that nervous system, that vagus nerve. And how do we do that? Really easy. Deep breathing. This is not woo-woo stuff, Johnny. I'm sure you've done some research. I've done a lot of research on this. um, and the deep breathing is really important, and you can do that. Actually, my husband does it when he's driving. Not just throughout the
I'll
day.
do some deep breathing like in the
Yeah.
sauna
Yeah.
after my workout.
Yeah.
And I just close my eyes, I try and rest my whole body, and I just do some deep breathing. And a trick that I like to do is I'll breathe in all of I kind of imagine it like a white cloud that's full
Yeah.
of like sparkles. It's all like
Ooh,
positive, healthy energy,
I love it.
and I can see myself breathing it in, and then I hold my breath for a little bit, and then when I exhale, I can see all the black,
I love
gross
it.
negativity, stress exit my body. And if I can visualize that, I can feel my body just relax and feel
Yes.
better.
So wise. Wisdom, absolute wisdom spoken there. Yeah, I love the visualization part of it. It can be as simple as breathing in, 4 counts, another sip at the top, holding it for 4 counts and releasing. And incorporating Johnny's visualization is excellent.
Do you like the four in, hold for four,
I
four out?
do. I do. I like the
Yeah.
extra little sip in at the top and holding it. And
Yeah.
then the exhale's a little bit longer. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think there's any absolute, you have to breathe this way. I think just overall, we don't have to be, just the overall breathing in, being present in the moment and
Yeah.
exhaling and release. And again, I love the visualization. You know what? Humming and singing actually helps us too.
Yeah.
because our vagus nerve runs through our vocal cords.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. So if
Okay.
we are, and so maybe in the sauna, Johnny, if you're really stressed, you can be humming, and everybody can join in and join in with you.
I'll start singing in the sauna, and then everyone else will be like, "What is this guy
Yeah.
doing?"
Yeah, no, humming. Humming is a way for you to stimulate that nerve that then we can get into the rest and digest.
Love it.
Exposure, I know right now the cold plunges and all of that is really hot right now. I'm not really sure about women in older age about how I feel about that. There's kind of some mixed
Yeah.
results. I don't know what you think about that. And then again with the vagus nerves in the throat area is gargling, literally gargling.
Mm.
So, again, let's just kind of pause for a moment and think about what I just said. We can breathe deeply, we can hum or sing, we can gargle, have a little bit of cold exposure. Maybe that's just splashing water in our face. Those are ways that you can help get into that parasympathetic. And I would just pick a couple of them. We're wrapping up here. Sleep. I've already talked about that. If we get some really good sleep, that decreases inflammation. Movement, already addressed that. That is anti-inflammatory. And so if this is literally a complete reset,
Yeah.
if we are incorporating anti-inflammatory foods, if we get consistent sleep, if we have daily movement, and most importantly, I mean, very just as important, regulate our stress.
Yeah.
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 So
I
yeah,
love that. And I
yeah.
think it sounded like the theme of this first topic was reducing your stress levels, which
Yes.
will make everything else better. And our tips for this, everybody, is to focus on those four things right there. Okay. Making
Yes.
sure we're getting quality sleep and focusing on the tips that Jill talked about in terms of making sure we're unplugging and getting ready for bed. But then also making sure we're drinking water first thing in the morning and after dinner and before we go to bed, and morning movement, whether that's stretching or doing yoga or going to the gym or whatever. And then
Hmm.
just making sure we're being intentional with our food as well. And I really love, Jill, how you were talking about some of those anti-inflammatory food groups that people
Hmm.
can incorporate in their meals and in their smoothies and things like that,
Oh
right?
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's an easy way to do that
love
with
it,
the
all
smoothies. I
that.
love smoothies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we're ready for the second bullet.
Okay, so
Go for that
we're
gut health.
gonna spend about 5 minutes on this topic, and then we're gonna
Okay.
finish off with something for a little gift with everyone, for everybody. Okay?
Okay, okay, great. So I mentioned with regards to, our gut has a lot to do with our overall well-being and our health and
Yeah,
our immune system. And so just a few facts here I want to share with people. 70% of what's of our immune system is actually our gut lining and our gut health. So that's important.
yeah.
90% of our serotonin is actually produced in our gut. And if our gut is not feeling well, our energy is going to be really, really low. If our gut is inflamed, we're going to have a higher inflammation, our energy crashes, we're not going to feel well, we're going to have brain fog, those kinds of things. Okay. So
And I feel
what kind
like
of
all of that, just like not feeling good and the brain
ugh,
fog, it's gonna
yeah,
contribute to feeling tired and feeling unmotivated to even do anything about it. So if you're
yeah,
already feeling unmotivated to go work out or eat healthier, I think starting with this right here, because this does not have like sleeping and drinking more water has nothing to do with food or exercise. It's just
mm-hmm,
things that are going to help you feel better so that you can have more motivation to go do what you need to do.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So before we had how we get to reset the gut, just really quickly, some of the things that damages our digestion, I think we probably already know that. Chronic stress, we talked about it. The overuse of antibiotics. Obviously, we need them at times, but if we and my personal thing, my son always has strep throat. I mean, years of being on antibiotics. I know his stomach and his gut lining is all messed up. Okay. If we use too many of the over the counter, I've already talked about this. Tylenol, ibuprofen, short term is okay. Long term, inquire a little bit further.
Right.
Alcohol, obviously, processed foods, and a lack of fiber. So, how do we reset our gut? We want to repair the gut lining, and we also too want to address the microbiome.
Right.
Already talked. We want to remove the gut irritants. We want to limit the alcohol. We want to limit the over-the-counter medications. We want to eliminate processed foods, and we want to eliminate artificial sweeteners. We've actually kind of talked about that when we
Mm.
replace it with healthier things. How do we repair the microbiome? Is the diversity in the plants foods that we eat. And I really like this. This is a really great way that we can help repair the gut lining is incorporate bone broth and collagen peptides.
Yeah.
Yeah, and easy to do, right? Um,
Yeah, they
omega-3.
make these little like small little broth powdered
Mm-hmm.
packets that
Oh, look.
have 10 grams of protein and 5
Okay.
grams of collagen that's in the
Yes.
packet that you just mix with hot water.
Yeah.
And you can find those on Amazon or whatever, but my wife and I have some of those every now and then. They're really good, and it's just extra, just extra 10 to 15 grams of protein that's going to make you feel really good.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just quickly to stay on time to, again, we're on topic as far as these are the things on how you're repairing your gut. The bone broth, the collagen, increasing the omega-3, omega-3s either through supplementation, fatty fish, those kinds of things. And then zinc. Actually, a lot of people don't have enough zinc. And so that might be incorporating, a little bit more zinc into your diet.
And you
I'm
can
going
find
to,
those like in, like you said, the fatty fishes, right?
oh
The
yeah, yeah, yeah.
salmon, tuna, tilapia, um, things like, or shrimp, things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then how we manage and how we change the microbiome. We really want a variety, a large variety of plants weekly.
Mm.
And so we've talked about this. We have vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, whole grains. Just think about different kinds of plant fibers that you can incorporate into your weekly routine. If we increase this kind of thing, we are literally changing our gut biome, the bacteria in our gut. And so the more diverse that our diversity that we have in what we're eating healthily, we have a better immunity, we have a better gut, inflammation reduces, and we overall are feeling better. And then lastly, with regards to helping our gut and repairing it is incorporating fermented foods.
Mm.
Okay, sauerkraut, kefir, those kind of yogurt with live cultures. And again, where we've always been talking, start small. Where can you start? Where can you start
Yeah.
in this? You don't have to start, you don't have to do everything at
Don't have
once.
to do everything at
So
once because that's
yeah,
already overwhelming. So pick one
yeah,
to two things and run with it for a couple of days. And then if you feel good about it, then you can add a third one or something.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just want to 30-second quickly rep. Digestion starts in the mouth when we start eating.
Yeah.
And so we want to be cognizant of how slowly that we're eating. We can prime our digestive system with enzymes with maybe a little bit of dandelion greens, arugula, maybe a
Oh.
little bit of apple cider in our water. And then I know we're big on water. We've already talked about that. But if we drink water throughout our meals, it actually kind of dilutes those enzymes.
Mm.
So wait for water later on. I don't know what you think about that, but that's one thing that I have read and seen that can help repair the gut lining.
That's awesome. What are
Yeah.
your thoughts on, because I know some people think, drinking a ton of water all day is boring. And
Mm,
sometimes they need to switch it up with like a soda or they need to switch it up with like juice or something. What I recommend is throwing in some lemon or
yes.
cucumber in your water.
Mm-hmm.
One, because it just gives some taste, but two,
Yeah.
I also think it helps with with digestion and with the stomach lining. Do you have any thoughts on the lemon
I'm
or the cucumber?
I'm absolutely in line with you. I agree. It gives it a little bit more, it fluffs up the water. Some people hate to drink water. It's more interesting.
Yeah,
Again, the lemon does help with detoxification of the liver, which is a part of our
yeah,
digestive system. So I absolutely share that sentiment with you.
love it. Cool.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
great,
And then
great.
lastly, Johnny, you and I talk a lot about this. It's about celebrating the wins, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
they can be small. I just got done saying, you know what, where can you make some changes? Maybe it's one or two changes in the way we eat.
Mm,
What can we do to reduce the stress in our life? How can we activate that vagus nervous system? How can we improve our sleep? And if we have one or two things that we're moving towards, I mean, celebrate. That's worth celebrating. You don't have to change the entire thing. It truly is a journey, right?
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always think about it as what's one thing you can do today to help you be 1% better. It's
Yeah.
not 100%. You're not always going to be perfect every day, but if you know that today you had more protein than yesterday, or you had more water than yesterday, or you had 7 hours of sleep instead of 5 hours of sleep, those are all wins that
Yes.
they're small wins, right? But they stack. And if you have a lot of
Yes.
small wins over time, you'll be on track to reach your health and fitness goals for sure.
I'm a big fan of sticky notes. Like, you know
Oh
what? If
yeah.
I increase my water intake, sticky note on my computer or
Yeah.
on the
Good
mirror,
job,
and
Johnny. High five.
yeah, yeah, those kinds of things. And you and I have talked about this. I've talked about it with clients. You know, there's going to be a time when we are moving towards success in our overall well-being, and we're going to kind of hit a wall.
Yeah.
And
And I
and
feel
that's
like
normal.
everyone hits a wall at some point.
It is. It's absolutely normal. You're establishing new habits. Your body may be like, "Ugh, I don't want to do this because I really like the donuts and I really like the coffee." And so just walking through those challenges, just continue walking towards the ultimate goal of wellness.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I also really like to think about it as, if I'm on track with everything I'm trying to do Monday through Friday,
Yeah.
um, like making sure I'm walking in the morning, drinking more water, eating protein, working out, and being mindful about adding what we've been doing is adding more turmeric to our chicken
Oh,
or doing lemon chicken, right? Or
yeah.
just extra things in our meals that we don't normally think about, but or adding ginger to our meals, right? These are all things that can just help out your gut and just help you feel a little bit better. But again, it's about those small wins, right? You don't have to do everything at
Hmm.
once.
Yeah.
Pick one or two things that you know you can actually do for the next 30 days, and
Hmm.
then that builds that foundation. Now it's embedded in your routine. And then it's easy to
Yes.
stack more stuff on top of that and keep on growing and getting better, right?
Absolutely. Well said. Totally
And it is
agree.
about the journey.
It
You're totally right.
is. It
Because the
really is.
destination will always be there, but you'll never reach the destination if you don't go through the journey, which this
Hmm.
is the part that we need to focus on, not the end result.
Oh yeah. We're going to
Yeah.
have, I'm sure we've all seen that image of, success is not linear and it's not just go straight up. It's going to be all around and setbacks and stuff. That's why it really is about the journey. What did
Yeah.
I learn? What did I do well here? What can I do differently? It's really not beating ourselves up. And that goes back to my passion about mindset.
Yeah.
It is how many sticky notes have I acquired over, the last week? I've
Yeah.
got four out of maybe a total of 10, but I did four,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So doing all this stuff through the week, that way by the end of the week, you feel accomplished, you feel proud of
Mm-hmm.
what you've been able to do. Reward yourself with a cookie or something but
Mm-hmm.
like do something to be like, I deserve this.
Yeah.
And I also don't have to feel guilty about eating a burger or something because I
Mm-hmm.
know that I have this foundation embedded into my lifestyle that's going to take me further than any kind of diet plan or anything because this is how you build that healthier lifestyle. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah. I love the balance too. I like
It's a
that
balance.
I
Yeah.
love that you mentioned the cookie and the hamburger and or the French fries. Like, it's
Oh
how do we
yeah.
balance that throughout the whole week? This is not, this doesn't need to be absolutely crazy and painful. You know, moving towards wellness
Yeah.
doesn't have to be that way. So
Yeah.
these are just really basic, easy things that we can incorporate.
Incredible. Jill, you're amazing. Thank you
Oh,
so,
thank you, Johnny. I
so
appreciate
much.
you.
I know you have
Yeah.
um I know you have a free resource that you
Yes,
love to
yes,
give out
yes.
to these veterans, right? Can you talk a
Yeah,
little bit about
yeah.
that real quick?
Yeah, well, I know Johnny's going to mention my website, and so you can take a look at the services there. And you want to, I already talked to Johnny before we came on to this Zoom call, and I love to offer a 15% discount on
Mm.
my services that you can see on my website. to
Yeah.
you all. And so just contact me either through, and do you have my email? Well, obviously through my website, you can see my
Yeah.
email. So that is an offering to you guys. And then also too, I will provide, do you want me to post it, Johnny? In
You
is
can send it to me and
Okay, I'll
I'll
send it
post
to
it.
you.
I'm gonna post the free resource from Jill, everybody,
Okay.
in the Facebook group up above in the resources up above. So you guys can go find that. It's free. You guys can go
Yeah.
download that. And if you love it, and if you guys love this video, please reach out to Jill. Go to her
Mm.
website, read more about how she's helped all of her clients. And you also have a book,
Oh,
right?
yes, yes, yeah. And so, what I'm going to post for you guys, it's a free resource that incorporates my love and my passion, is that nervous system regulation and some ways
Yeah.
that you can reduce the stress in your life and reset that nervous system because we need that as a
Yeah.
part of the whole well-being and to move you towards wellness. So that will be posted. I do have a health journal, Illuminating Wellness. I'll put a link on there as well. It's available on Amazon. Really, four simple journal prompts on how we can kind of get in our way with regards to our wellness and how we break through that. Okay, again, very, very simple. And I think that's it, right?
Love it. Yep. And I'm going to put a link to her book in the
Okay.
description down below. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can go click on that. If you're watching this in the Facebook group, you can go down and click on that. It will all be there for you guys. And please, guys, go check out her website. Go check out the free resource that's in the resources up above in the Facebook group because even though this is information, it don't
Hmm.
feel like it's something you have to now add on to your day because that's going to increase stress. We don't want that.
Yeah.
But this is just mindful, healthy habits that are yours to keep forever. So
Hmm.
even though you're not, even if you don't master it within the first 30 days, this is something that you can continue to work on for the rest of your life. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Thank you, Johnny.
yeah,
Thank you again
yeah,
for the ability to speak to this wonderful group of people. Thank you again for your service and reach out and I'm happy to
yeah.
address any further questions.
Great.
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Everyone who's watching
Okay.
this, please reach out to Jill if you have any question or anything. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you guys being here. And we'll see you on the next training for month 2.
All right. Bye-bye. Happy
All
New
right,
Year.
bye.